In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, me and my brother James, we have another preseason rookie report. I guess we just titled this Preseason Rookie Report Part 2. And of course, we got to talk about the big debut from Zaccharie Risacher, the number one pick in the 2024 NBA draft. May have silenced me. I know I wasn't the biggest Risacher fan. It's still early, but I have to give him his props. Stay tuned to hear our thoughts on Zaccharie Risacher, Kel'el Ware, Matas Buzelis, Tidjane Salaun, Ron Holland, and more. Stay tuned. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host, James Barlowe. We're going to talk about the rookies. I mean, we're just so happy that basketball is back and there's actually games to analyze that we're probably going to do rookie updates every day until college basketball starts. But before we get into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You can get $20 off your first purchase. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop, because as promised, we're coming at you with a new episode every single day. My goal is 25 episodes a month. We'll give you about 5-6 days off depending on the month. But I even want to do weekends just because sometimes I don't want to wait till Monday. If there's something that happened Friday night or Saturday or whatever, I may not want to wait till Monday. So we'll be giving you episodes on the weekend also. All right, let's get right into this episode. We're going to talk about some of the rookie performances from Tuesday night. I had to go back and watch the games. Zaccharie Risacher. Can't help but start off with Risacher. Big game, 18 points, was 7 of 9 from the floor, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, was plus 15, made 3 or 4 from 3. And I'll be honest, I haven't been the biggest Risacher supporter. He looked good last night. What were your thoughts on Risacher?
He's in a great spot for him and what kind of player he is and who else is on the team. So, all right, the dude that's going to get all of the heat is going to be Trae Young, right? Trae Young, small guard, this, that, and the other. Say he's a terrible defender. All these things. Hasn't had the playoff success that he had since beating Philly that 1 year. Shout out to Ben Simmons, not dunking on him. But Risacher playing next to Trae Young and on a team with veterans is going to be good for him because he's not asked to do what he can't do or doesn't show. So basically, how they used him in that game the other night, off the ball, he was setting screens. He had a play as a dunker. We know he's good in transition, spotting up. He's in a really good spot to be successful. And it's good to see him play well, even though you and I both weren't his biggest fans. We're not haters. So he played well, man. Shouts out to him.
Yeah, I do think that he's in a good situation where he doesn't have to be the franchise guy. He can come in and be a complimentary guy. I mean, ultimately, I think he's going to end up being a really good complimentary guy. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star type player, but I do think that it is very beneficial for him that it's Trae Young's team. All the credit is going to go to Trae Young and all the blame is going to go to Trae Young. Even at best, you'd have to imagine Jalen Johnson is their second best player. So he's going to be their third best player. So I think he's in a good situation. But let's talk about how he played. Like you mentioned, they used him at the dunker spot. I saw that he had a few possessions where he was the roll man with Kobe Buffkin.
Yeah.
There was actually a play where he, my biggest knock on him was I didn't think the handle was tight enough. And I didn't really think he had much to his game as far as being able to create his own shot. Wasn't the ugliest possession, but he had an ISO up and under move against Ben Shepherd where he kind of turned it into a post up. I think that was, a step in the right direction. I think he's going to be able to score as the roll man. And then with Larry Nance on the floor, I think that's going to really help him out with teams trap Trae Young. Nance is a good passer, or Larry Nance Jr. is a good passer to where if he gets the ball in the middle of the floor, he's going to be able to make the right read. And so there was a play where he found Risacher in the corner. But, he scored how I thought he would score in the NBA as far as just being like a catch and shoot scorer. He had some transition threes. I didn't really envision him as a rim roller or scoring in the dunker spot, but he scored on a couple of those possessions. So I thought he played really well. Then he showed a little bit of razzle dazzle, little flavor with the between the legs, behind the back pass to Clint Capella. So, hey, if I had to give him a grade, I'd give him an A+. And so, we've been, I guess, I don't want to say we were critical of Risacher. We just had our concerns and we voiced them. I think sometimes a lot of people are afraid to voice their concerns because they don't want to be wrong. And when you're doing a podcast and you're on a platform, people remember everything. Like somebody just pulled up a post that we made in like last November where we thought Jacoby Walter was like a top 10 pick.
Everybody thought he was a top 10 pick at that time.
Right. But the way they like reposted it was like, it was a good reason he fell to the Raptors. And if he ends up being like the player that we thought he was, then the Raptors got a steal. So at least they weren't critical. But anyway.
I mean, it's a part of the job. It happens. Let me say this real quick about Risacher, though. Okay, so he was the number 1 pick. We both think that he's going to be good. We don't know if he's going to be great because everything that comes with being the number 1 pick. I think the only thing that will kind of like go against him, not this year, because this year I think a lot of guys are going to be on the same level. But if somebody from this group, from this draft class emerges as like an all-star, perennial all-star, superstar, then you're going to look back and say, man, you see so-and-so fell to pick X and look who was picked number 1. If Risacher is like a 12 point per game guy, or if he's not like a perennial all-star, that's when they'll be like, oh, we should have took somebody else. But this draft was like, there was no clear-cut, like projectable all-star superstar. So it kind of works both ways as far as like, how do you rate him now and in the future?
Well, the guy that I think has a chance to be really special, and I talked about it the majority of last season. I was like, how does a guy put up the numbers that Kel'el Ware had at Indiana, and he wasn't consistently mocked as a lottery pick? I thought too many people couldn't unsee what they saw from him his freshman year at Oregon. Ware showed flashes in Summer League, and he looked good last night versus the Charlotte Hornets. He looked really good last night. 13 points. What was it? 13 points, 4 blocks, 5 rebounds,
2 steals,
6 stocks. I thought Kel'el Ware played really, really well. I mean, he looked more athletic than everyone on the court. I mean, like some of the dunks, he just looked long and athletic. He had a catch and shoot 3. He, had a dunk as the roll man. He had a free throw line Jay. He was drawing fouls as a roll man. He did get a little. He was feeling himself with that dribble handoff 3. Did you see that? There was a play where they gave him the ball and he caught it like in the slot at the top of the key, and it was supposed to be a dribble handoff, and the defender cut off the dribble handoff. He just said, "Hey, let me shoot this 3." But I like that. I like the confidence. And no, the craziest thing is, on the last play of the game, do you think they drew that play for him to shoot the 3?
No way. I just know he's like, look, this ball come to me, I'm getting it up. I'm not mad at him for taking the game.
The way that he was out there, they may have drew it up, man. It was 5 seconds left. I think they were down 3, 111, 108. And Kel'el Ware shot the game. He went for the game tying 3. I'm going to say they drew it up. They're probably like, hey, rookie, man, it's a preseason game. We want to get your confidence up. We want to let you know that we believe in you. Hey, man, let's draw off this play. But I was kind of tripping off that.
Let me ask you a question. Who cracks the starting lineup first? Kel'el Ware or Risacher?
That's a good question. I want to say where.
They
I
moved
think,
Jovic to the bench, and they moved Bam to the 4.
yeah, I think they may do that. Well, to me, it doesn't matter who starts; it's who closes games. So I think they may close games with Bam. As
It's
far as
not really
Reese,
matchup based though, too.
yeah, as far as Risacher, all right, I think Jalen Johnson is
It's
a
a
lock
lock
to
at the
start.
4.
I think DeAndre Hunter is going to start.
He can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy, but you have to start him to at least showcase him to move him so you can get something so you can move Risacher to the starting lineup. Dyson Daniels, I guess he's going to play a lot because they probably want him as a defender, another defender to cover Trey. I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty good question. I think I'm going to go with Ware, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with Ware. I think I'm going to go with Ware.
Do you think? Actually, you know what? We'll say that question before we come back.
All right. When we return, we're going to talk about Tidjane Salaun, who had his second really strong performance in the preseason. And I couldn't think of a player comparison with James came with a pretty good one. And Tidjane had some, I mean, we know he's uber confident, but he has some plays that just exude his confidence. But before we get into Tidjane, let's talk about BetterHelp because this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears or finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place, it is fear that is holding us back. So for me, if I had to say I had a fear, I think right now it's more so because I have a family. And, as a man, you're supposed to like lead the family, be the head of the household. So one of my fears is not being able to like take care of my family. So what are your fears? Now, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to fit your schedule. All you have to do is just fill out a brief questionnaire. You can get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba, and you can get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. All right. Second segment, Tidjane Salaun. I'm gonna just let you have the mic right here. What were your overall thoughts on Tidjane's performance?
I mean, so look, 15 points. He grabbed rebounds this time.
Yeah.
8 rebounds. He had 3 assists. They were ball moving assists, and you'll take any assist you can get out of the uber confident Tidjane Salaun. I'm wondering if Tidjane is French for let that thing go, because listen to me, he catches the ball, is going up.
Did you notice that all his points came in the second half?
Yeah.
They were all in the second half. He made his first bucket at I want to say it was probably 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the third. 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the third. From that point on, he had 15 points and got up 9 shots.
I mean, so he hit threes out of triple threat position. He hit 2 of them on some Carmelo
Anthony face up jab on different sides of the floor. One was on the right.
I don't know if it's on purpose or not, or he just doesn't know better, but he's super confident, and you definitely can't take it away from him because he's making shots. And you were trying to come up with a comparison for him. I mean, I don't want to go light-skinned mixed dude comparison, but right now today he plays like Michael Porter Jr., where you know what, if he catches it, it's going up, it's likely going to go in. He doesn't have the stationary creation that Michael Porter Jr. has, but I feel like if Tidjane catches the ball, it's definitely going up. He's not the off-the-ball player that Michael Porter Jr. is obviously either, but I mean, if I was making a lazy complexion comparison based on, just uber confident 6'10" forwards, it would be Michael Porter Jr. I do have a question though. What is going to happen when he does play and teams are chasing him off the line? Because right now, as soon as he dribbles, he did hit a one dribble pull up late in that fourth quarter. But as soon as he dribbles, man, stuff happens that you don't. He's not nearly successful as he is when he's just flat out catching and shooting. But shout out to Tidjane, man. Let it go. Keep shooting till they tell you not to.
Well, I think what's going to be beneficial for him is if LaMelo's healthy and Brandon Miller is, getting buckets, or even like Trey Mann, then they're going to try to run him off the line. But I think that one, he's so long that he's going to be able to shoot over top of guys. So I think that's going to help him out. But I mean, teams try to run Porter Jr. off the line, if that's your comparison.
Yeah,
easier said than done, because you got to help out on Jokic. Now he doesn't have.
He didn't have that kind of magnetism,
but he does have the type of playmaker that is going to be able to get him those open looks. Yeah. Now, as far as like running him off the line, I think for him, he's probably just going to add a pump fake, one dribble pull up, kind of like Porter does. He's so athletic, but it's like he's stiff. Athletic.
Yeah, he's stiff. He's still with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, not a lot of creativity. Even though, like we said in the last episode he had that Magic Johnson running.
Some of that stuff looks accidental. I mean, just because he's so raw. Like, we know he can do one thing well, and it's shoot. And then when he puts the ball on the ground, it's like, what do I do? And then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, when he puts the ball on the ground, it's going up because there's not a lot of pace to it. But, he's played the same way. The first time I saw him play was at Basketball Without Borders. So I guess that was 23. It was in Salt Lake City. And he was not one of like the highly touted prospects coming into that camp. He ended up being the 6th pick in the draft. But it was the same way. It was like he gets the ball. He's getting them up. Mm-hmm. Very confident. He was extremely raw at that point. But just seeing the progress that he's made from then until now, and the fact that he's had, it's still preseason, but like back-to-back double-figure games, and the way he lets it fly with confidence tells me like he's been putting in work. And one of the consistent things that I've heard about him is that his work ethic is off the charts. Mm-hmm. Like, I even had someone tell me that they think long-term he's going to be better than Risacher, just because of, in the short amount of time, how he's even made it close. Because Risacher's been on radars. He's been one of the top international players in the 2005 generation for years. I remember hearing about Risacher, probably like 3 or 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And Tidjane is a guy that just kind of has come out of nowhere to even be in the same conversation. So that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch. But, they're going to be teammates on the French national team. But again, it was the jab step, Carmelo Anthony, I'm on fire threes that he made. He was on fire. He did score 15 in the second half. There was a couple things I wanted to mention. I want to go back to Kel'el Ware, and, because the Hornets played the Heat. Kel'el Ware had 3 emphatic blocks.
Oh, and it was like the same possession.
Well, 2. Well, yeah, 1. Well, no, I know like 1. It was Keontae Johnson drove, volleyball spiked his shot. I think it hit like the baseline and probably went into like the 5th row. Then there was another play. I want to say it was Harry Giles drove, maybe got like a block, and then Keontae Johnson got the offensive rebound and he went to put it up and he beat it to the sideline. And then I want to say it was Misic drove to the lane. He had 4 blocks, but 3 of them were the type of blocks where it makes you think twice about coming to the rack. So if he can be that type of rim protector
with Bam too,
Miami got one. You know what? It wouldn't be unheard of, in my opinion, for Kel'el Ware to have a better rookie year then Donovan Clingan.
Oh, for sure. I think he's better than Donovan Clingan.
And Clingan hasn't played the game yet, so
I think he's better than Donovan
we'll
Clingan.
see. But I mean, I think that I think his game is definitely suited for the NBA. But anyway, Kel'el Ware was super impressive. But so was Tidjane Salaun. Do you think Salaun is able to crack the starting lineup anytime soon?
No.
So who do you think Charlotte's starting five would be?
LaMelo, Josh Green, Brandon Miller, Miles, and whichever center is healthy, Mark Williams or Nick Richards.
I think he might be able to catch Josh Green.
You need somebody to defend on the perimeter.
They may just go with the length. I mean, Josh.
How much more length do you need? You got to
Hey, that's what I'm saying. They may just say, you know what, we go on 6'7", 6'9".
Here's the thing, though.
Mark Williams' arms are as long as the interstate.
I get it, but listen to me though. Tidjane is still really, really raw. Like we probably were talking about other people, but at the end of that game, he had the ball in his hands and he was like, "I'm gonna dribble up the court," and like he stumbled, he fell over. What's the commentator, the real funny dude, animated? He's pass the ball. He's screaming at him, pass the ball. Luckily, it was a tie up, and they ended up gaining possession. Like, I know that's just one thing, but like stuff like that just lets you know kind of where he is as far as like his feel for the game, because he was going to go make a play for himself, and he really can't dribble more than 1.5 times. But he did this at the other end of the free throw line, so I don't think he's going to crack the starting lineup, and I don't think it does him as. I mean, you play him with Trey Man and Micic, he's gonna get his shots up anyway. But I think he'll be better suited off the bench.
Well, this is why I think he should start. 2025 class is strong.
They can't keep tanking though.
I mean, it's a new front office, but it's one of those things where if he gets a lot of developmental minutes, and he also helps you. You don't want to be too good. You still want to be, if you're Charlotte, you still want to be in that position. If you're Charlotte, you want to be in position for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes to keep him in the state of North Carolina because he's going to Duke. So, you might got to let Tidjane be Tidjane. When we return, we're going to talk about Ron Holland, Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, and Jalen Tyson. Ron Holland.
Matas
Buzelis. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about Matas. Ron Holland had a second game. You know what? Let's talk about Matas at the top of the break. Before we talk about Matas, we got to talk about FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And if you're an NFL fan, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play, so much more. On the same page where you place your bets, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all you have to do is place your first $5 bet, and that's at FanDuel.com. All right, Matas Buzelis. Matas had a good game. He ended up with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 stocks. Showcases athleticism, was 4 of 9 from the floor. What did you think about Matas' performance?
Yeah, Matas is. I see the talent. He played well, but again, things that I want to see from Matas, and maybe it's nitpicking. Again, some people think nitpicking is hating. Call it whatever you want. I want to see him make jump shots, and he didn't make catch and shoot jump shots. But the defense is good. I told you before, a long time ago, I think he has potential as a defender because obviously he's tall and he's long, but he competes. I think he had to play. I want to say it was Donovan Mitchell. Had him isolated. He contested Donovan Mitchell's jump shot. Donovan Mitchell is a bucket, and for him to be out there and make it tough for that guy, even though he is like 9 inches taller than him, it doesn't matter. Matas has two-way potential. Offensively, I think he has I mentioned it before, he has the reputation of being a shooter. I don't think he can shoot like that, but he does other things well. And again, I told you that I think he's best suited at the 4, and I think he played a lot of 4 last night. He was guarding Niang, which means you are 100% playing the 4, or at least guarding the 4. So I actually think Matas, he will end up starting a good chunk of games. It just depends on how soon the Bulls decide to throw it away.
He needs to start opening night.
Over Patrick Williams?
I mean, I think they just gave Patrick what 90.
Yeah. He's not trade eligible till what, December? They gotta blow it up, man. They got too many people, man. Matas is gonna end up starting. He should end up starting, or at least playing heavy minutes as a 6-man. But they got to get some guys out the way because it's too many people, man. The Bulls need to just do the right thing. Y'all still gonna sell all the tickets. Y'all always top 5 in attendance, man. I mean, just do the right thing. If there's ever a year to do the right thing, it's this year.
Yeah, Patrick Williams is still only 23.
He's still only 23.
He was super young. Yeah, man, you got to start Matas, man. I don't know what's gonna happen with Zach LaVine. I can't even think of a really good trade scenario. I mean, he's probably owed like $200 million. I don't know the numbers. I mean, you hear the Lakers want him, and of course, anybody that signed with Clutch is gonna always be like, tied to the Lakers. They already got the jerseys already made on social media. I don't know what you do with the LaVine situation, but you got to get him out of there. You have to get him out of there. You're not going anywhere. Start the full rebuild. At least let Matas be the 6-man.
I think he has to be the 6-man regardless. Well, shoot, because they're going to end up moving off Alonzo. They got to showcase him enough to be healthy. But, like, do you start?
I don't think they got to move off Alonzo. I think this is the last year in his contract. So you just let him walk.
I mean, true, but you can get something back for him if you move him before his contract ends.
What?
I mean, if he can move, he's still 6'6" and he can shoot and he can be a half-court passer.
Yeah, but
still value. I mean, all his value is tied into his health, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not taking that long-term risk of trading anything for him when I can probably get him for free in the summer.
And I'm not letting him walk if I'm going to showcase that he's healthy and see if I get some back instead of losing him for free in the summer.
I'm letting him walk. He's not in my future plans.
That's
and I can't imagine a team giving up much for him. Even if he averages 11, 5, and 5, you're not going to get equal value for him. You might get a second-round pick because who's going to give up an asset for him with all the question marks surrounding him?
That's true.
So I'm telling Matas, hey, man, you from Chicago area. We're not going anywhere. We're on a treadmill. We are running in place, going nowhere fast. So we're going to get you at least 25 minutes a game somehow. So I think he should. Starting right now, no, because they just paid Patrick Williams, and you got to start LaVine. And then I figure you got to play Giddey and Kobe White together. But Matas should be playing at least 25 minutes a game. If anything, if I'm the Bulls, and this may sound crazy to some people, I'm trying to get Matas in that Rookie of the Year, first team All NBA. I mean, all rookie. I'm trying to at least get him in that mix. At least give the fans some excitement, some hope. I mean, I know that Chicago does well selling out, but
show up either way.
But I mean, I have a friend from Chicago, and she sent me a message after that TikTok dance where they had the guys dancing around. And she was like, "Rob, is this really our team?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah. So no, but I thought Matas played. I thought he showed some flashes. Got to be able to knock down some jumpers. Speaking of knocking down some jumpers, let's transition to his teammate with the G League Ignite. Ron Holland had a good game statistically in his first game against the Bucks, I believe.
Yes.
But against the Suns, he had 10 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, but he was like 2 of 7 from the floor, if I'm not mistaken. Missed both of his threes. And it was kind of like what I expect from Ron Holland. You saw the athleticism. You saw like the first step is it is crazy. But you saw like the way teams are going to guard him or not guard him when he's left open. And then you saw just how how competitive he is, but sometimes his competitive fire and just how active in his motor kind of like leads to some crazy possessions. But I thought Ron, I thought he just what I expect out of Ron. But I
Yeah.
say this much. Once he develops somewhat of a respectable jump shot, he's going to be hard to handle because the way he blows by defenders
Listen,
from a standstill.
I have that in my notes. Look, if you close out to him poorly, he is going to get fouled or he's dunking the basketball.
Yes.
It's either A or B. The problem is he can't shoot. And I think you're crazy closing out to him like that.
If I'm a big on the other team, I'm telling my wings, do not close out on him, because if you close out on him, you're putting me in position to be on a poster.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get fouled. I'm going to pick up a foul, because that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to close out on him hard. And it doesn't take much for him to get to his launching pad.
No.
And it's either he's going to dunk, score, or foul. I mean, yeah. So I if I'm a big, I'm telling my guards, do not close out on him. Not even, I wouldn't even contest.
No, I wouldn't do it. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how minutes become available for him in Detroit, because they need it's clear as day that Coach Bickerstaff is like, I got to give Cade space.
Yeah.
And I don't, again, Asur hasn't played yet. If you play Detroit, Tim Hardaway Jr. might be playing the 4 that night, or it might be Malik Beasley. Like, they're going to have to play 4 out with one big, because Cade needs space. So, yeah, Ron's got some development to do. But like you said, man, if you attack him, if he's at a standstill and he gets a step, he's going to get to the basket every single time.
So here's what's interesting. Ron Holland, coming into this draft, I think if you would have asked 10 people who's a better shooter, who has more upside as a shooter, Ron Holland or Ryan Dunn, I think the money would have went on Ryan Dunn. Somehow, some way.
The money would have went on Ron Holland, right?
I mean, on Ron Holland. I mean, Ryan Dunn was 23% from 3 over 2 years at Virginia. I think he just took 51 threes total in his 2 seasons. He was a 50% foul shooter. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's in the water, in the desert. Ryan Dunn was 3 of 5 from 3. The majority of his shots are threes. I know we talked about this in the last episode, so we don't need to go deep into this.
Dude, all his shots are going to be threes.
I thought, like, for example, if you would have told me all Risacher shots were going to be threes, I would have thought that was believable. Threes in transition. I would have thought that the way that Atlanta used Risacher as like the screener and roller would be something I would see more out of Ryan Dunn. But the fact that Ryan Dunn is launching threes with confidence, like he's got a sniper, I'm like, was Virginia holding him back? But then I'm like, he wasn't making them when he was shooting.
Yo, he shot a 3. He shot the 3 that you hate that I shoot when we play pickup. He shot a pull-up transition 3 at the top of the key, and he made it. Look, man, confidence is everything. And right now he has confidence. And I think part of the reason why he's not being the screener that you have thought he would be, they got Oso out there. So it's like, I don't need you to, like, that's Oso's job. Oso's out there making plays. Again, 6.7 rebounds, 4 assists. Get out the way, Ryan Dunn. So
Oso had 7 rebounds. You'll take that.
Yeah, you'll definitely take that. So it's like, if he were in a different situation, maybe another coach would be like, hey, man, we might need you to mix it up and set some screens. But like, yo, he's going to be a corner boy. And he just needs to make 1 out of 3 because he does so many other things well. The problem with him that I had with him is that 1 out of 3 it seemed like insurmountable. He was like 1 out of 7. So he's going to be a 33% 3-point shooter, which again, 33% is not league average. But if he's a 33% 3-point shooter, he is going to find himself playing regular season minutes for sure. Now in the playoffs, it gets different because those possessions get fewer and fewer. But in the regular season, he's definitely going to crack that rotation.
No, I think he's going to find his way into playing like significant minutes for them, just for the defensive aspect. I mean, he had 2 blocks and a steal. But if he's making threes, and plus Phoenix needed to get athletic anyway. I mean, I felt like they were like the least athletic team in the league last year, just off the top of my head. So they need his athleticism. He ended up in a great situation.
Yeah.
Like, fit is everything. Opportunity is everything. Not only did he go to a team that's expected to win, it's a good fit for him. They need his defense and his athleticism, but somehow they put some anointing on him to where he's shooting and making threes with the confidence of a sniper. So yeah, I mean, if you're Phoenix or you're a Suns fan, you have to be pleased with what you've seen out of Ryan Dunn. All right, real quick, Jalen Tyson.
Yeah, speaking of opportunity and fit, man, you couldn't ask for a worse situation for a wing. I mean, Jalen Tyson. In Cleveland, think about it. Donovan's going to play shooting guard and backup point guard. So there's no backup point guard minutes for your boy Craig, right? That's another position. So then, look, Karis LeVert is going to play wing minutes. Sam Merrill does not miss. He's going to play wing minutes if an opportunity. They still have Max Strus. So I'm a big Jalen Tyson fan. I would have loved him in Sacramento. And then when I saw he got drafted to Cleveland, I was like, dang, it's going to be tough for him.
I wanted him in Cleveland. I thought Cleveland would be a good fit simply because their backcourt is small. I thought they was going to let Okoro go, but I think
they brought back Okoro.
Yeah, I mean, they got him for a little bit of nothing. So, but I think Jalen's going to find his way into that rotation. I mean, he didn't have a great shooting night, but he had 8.7 rebounds, was able to get to the foul line 4 times.
He did all that in 12 minutes.
12 minutes. Like, I was looking at the box score because I didn't watch it live. I'm like, man, when is Jalen going to get in?
I thought he was going to get shut down.
And then a few minutes later, I'm like 8 and 7.
Yeah.
I think that Cleveland needs some size. They need some rebounding. If he can shoot the ball well, I think that's going to help. But their backcourt is so small. Max Strus isn't much of a defender. Okoro can defend, but I don't think teams are going to respect him on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, LeVert can get buckets and get busy, but I think Tyson could be the guy that's like the connector. He's tough and rugged, and I think you can play him some at the 4 because you're going to play Mobley at the 5 a lot. You're going to play Allen at the 5. So I think he can complement both of those guys when they're playing the 5.
Well, LeVert is on the last year of his deal, so I guess it makes sense then. But early on, I don't see how he's going to crack their rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually he's gonna find his way into the rotation.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. Once again, thank you for making Locked On NBA Big Board your first listen of the day. For your second listen, you gotta check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. If you're a Locked On Fantasy Basketball player, Josh Lloyd is the guy. He is a legend. He's a fantasy basketball expert. He will help you win your league. So find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Stay tuned. We will be back tomorrow.
Shout out Pella Larson, Isaiah Stevens. It was hooping.
Yep. We out of here.